Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Still with you here on Nile TV International and our continued coverage of the breaking news and the developments in the region with the Israeli-American and Iranian war. Now today, Prime Minister Dr. Mustafa Madbouli held a press conference on the latest regional developments. Madbouli stressed Egypt's political approach to the Iranian file from the beginning, which has been to work to contain and avoid escalation. Furthermore, Madbouli said President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi asserted that the military solution will not lead to anything for any party. Madbouli added the closure of the Strait of Hormuz, the disruption of navigation in the Red Sea and targeting of oil facilities will have great repercussions on the entire world, the region and Egypt. He said no one can predict how long the war will last and hence we must be prepared. He affirmed the important decisions which have been made regarding the energy sector to ensure stability of electricity sectors as well, adding that energy supplies have been secured for all productive sectors and payment to foreign partners has been settled, as well as Egypt's energy supplies have been secured for the next few months. Madbouli said the state has laid out a plan to also secure reserves of strategic goods like meat, poultry and wheat, and said the state is prepared with several scenarios in case the war drags on. Madbouli has also said the foreign currency depends on supply and demand and the central bank flexibility moves accordingly. He added the government is closely watching commodity prices for any increases that has mechanisms to face those trying to monopolize the markets. And for more on today's press conference by the Prime Minister, we're delighted to be joined over the telephone by our guest, Dr. Ahmed, our economic expert. Dr. Ahmed, good afternoon to you, sir.
Good afternoon to all of you.
Thank you, Doctor, for your time. Now, Doctor, today the Prime Minister stressed that from the beginning, Egypt's approach to the whole Iranian file has been to work to avoid escalation and to reach a diplomatic and resolution. He also said that the President has asserted the military solution will never lead to any party. However, of course, with the escalation in the region, we are seeing that no predictions of how long the war can last are available through any intelligence services. How do you see this, and how will this affect with regards to the preparations for a country like Egypt to strategically plan ahead?
First of all, Egypt as a key country in the Middle East, and Egypt as a key strategic partner with all the GCC countries, especially key countries in GCC like Saudi Arabia, like United Arab Emirates and Kuwait and Qatar and Oman, Bahrain, working with the group in order to make a settlement of all this war, and in order to stop the war as soon as possible. Because Iran is not able to take the operation against America and Israel all time, and Iran should stop the war as soon as possible in order to decrease the crisis and decrease the destroy of the infrastructure related to Iran by the Israel plan and USA air plan and force also. Egypt, the leadership of President Sisi, working with the leaders of the Arab country in the area in order to stop war, because this war will destroy the future of the economic in this region, especially GCC, as the key country have a surplus in petroleum sector and liquid gas, and all the world is in need of petroleum and liquid gas, but at a very cheap price. Today, the price for oil and petroleum increased to $85, and day by day will increase. But if we will be able to stop the war, the price will be normal, especially related to Hormuz Gate. And if Iran tries to stop the movement of the ships in Hormuz Gate, it will also lead to more increase in the price of petroleum, and will lead to more inflation not only in the region but in the world.
Absolutely. Now, Dr. Ahmed, now you mentioned a very important issue which is the Strait of Hormuz and the closure. And of course, the Prime Minister himself affirmed that decisions will be made accordingly regarding the energy sector to deal with the fluctuations in the prices if need be, which will also be temporary decisions in case of emergencies. How do you see, this and the energy supplies which have been secured for all the productive sectors, and the importance of this, as the Prime Minister said, paying off foreign partners has been settled. The Egyptian energy supplies have been secured for an extended period as a result of the planning by the Egyptian government.
Yes, Egyptian government all time tries to protect the Egyptian citizens from any crashes or increase in the price related to the war or instability. And all time also the Sisi insisted to ensure all the essentially commodities related to every Egyptian citizen by a very cheap price, like the price of rice, price of sugar, price of oil, and also the surplus in order to have enough surplus in this commodity. At the same time, also we have surplus in liquid gas and in the petroleum sector, but will cover either for at least 3 months. But we are still in need to increase the reserve. But I hope the diplomatic way will take place in order to stop this war as soon as possible before the end of Ramadan. Also, Prime Minister, the Minister of Foreign Affairs, Dr. Badr Abdelati, try all time to call the Iranian ministers, Foreign Affairs Minister, and all the leaders in the area in order to make a pressure to Israel and America and Iran to stop the war. I think President Trump sent a clear message: this war will not be long, and USA will try to eliminate the time at least to be 2 or 3 weeks only, like happened in the first 12-day war between Iran and Israel. But in this war, we have a new strategy. Iran try all time to make to send some weapons to United Arab Emirates and Saudi Arabia, and this is not accepted by all the Arab and Muslim countries. And I think the wisdom of the leader should lead to stop this war as much, especially after Khamenei died in this war.
Yes.
And the new leader of Iran should be more elastic and more dynamic person to solve the problem without the war.
Right. We'll leave it at that. Dr. Ahmed Kattab, our economic expert. Thank you, sir, for your time and your insight. And moving to more news, Prime Minister Mustafa Madbouli stressed that the World Bank is one of the international partners that represents a great importance to Egypt with regards to achieving sustainable development goals, as well as Egypt Vision for 2030. This came during his meeting with the World Bank Group Chief, Ajay Banga, and his accompanying delegation as part of his current official visit to Egypt. Madbouli asserted that the 2023-27 strategic partnership with the World Bank contributes to supporting national efforts to implement the economic reform program through enhancing the implementation of a number of major national projects undertaken by the government to serve citizens. And in more news, the Minister of Foreign Affairs, Badr Abdelati, also praised the strategic partnership with the World Bank and its support for implementing the economic reform program and achieving a sustainable development in Egypt. This came during his meeting with the World Bank Group Chief and part of his first official visit to Egypt to discuss ways of enhancing cooperation between Egypt and the World Bank Group. Abdelati expressed appreciation for the existing cooperation between Egypt and the World Bank and the support the group provides to boost the state's efforts to achieve its economic and development goals and priorities. And more news, the Minister of Foreign Affairs, Badr Abdelati, affirmed Egypt's firm stance, calling for the necessity of de-escalation and prioritizing diplomatic solutions to avoid the expansion of conflict and sliding the region into a wave of violence and conflict that would be difficult to contain. This came during 2 phone calls he held and received from the Bulgarian counterparts, Nadezhda Staninsky, and the Deputy Prime Minister and Minister of Foreign Affairs of Montenegro, Ervin Ibrahimovic. Abdelati displayed Egypt's views for the latest developments in the region. He stressed that military escalation will only worsen the situation and reiterated the importance of respecting the sovereignty of countries, good neighborliness and restraint at this critical stage. And for more news, the Prime Minister Mustafa Madbouli also chaired a meeting of the Ministerial Economic Group to review priority economic files, thereby scenarios to deal with the repercussions of the US-Israeli operations against Iran. We have the details.
Prime Minister Mustafa Madbouli chaired a meeting of the Ministerial Economic Group to review priority economic files led by scenarios for dealing with the repercussions of the US-Israeli operations against Iran and Tehran's targeting of several Arab countries. Madbouli emphasized necessity of updating integrated scenarios prepared by various ministries to ensure full readiness based on the latest developments. He confirmed that a plan coordinated between the government and the central bank is in place to provide the foreign currency required to secure basic needs, including food commodities, petroleum products and production supplies. The Prime Minister noted that as the outcome of the war remains unpredictable, the government has researched the various potential scenarios and established precautionary measures. Cabinet spokesperson Ahmed said the meeting highlighted that military operations against Iran have negatively impacted global markets and international economic activity. This has led to worldwide currency fluctuations due to international uncertainty, with Egypt affected due to its strategic importance in global trade and logistics. The meeting also addressed the impact on fresh agricultural exports to Gulf, African and Southeast Asian markets. Immediate coordination is underway between ministries to offer these products in the local markets to protect exporters from losses. Furthermore, officials discussed the status of Egyptian flights to Gulf countries, confirming ongoing coordination with civil aviation authorities in those nations. Regarding energy, Al-Hummusani confirmed that petroleum products are available in sufficient quantities for an extended period, supported by contracted shipments. The meeting reviewed the status of regasification vessels, confirming safe gas levels and efforts by the Petroleum Ministry to enhance strategic crude oil reserves in cooperation with international companies. Finally, the group discussed the preparations for the post-IMF Economic Development Program and progress in the government IPO program. This includes preparing 20 companies for initial listing, procedures to transfer 40 companies to the Sovereign Fund of Egypt, and updated to the state ownership policy documents.
And continuing with our news, the Foreign Minister Badr Abdelati has called on Iran to immediately halt attacks on neighboring Arab countries, warning that these strikes threaten the regional stability as cross-border fire intensifies across the Gulf. Abdelati held phone calls with his counterparts in the Gulf Cooperation Council states as well as Jordan and Iraq, according to the Egyptian Foreign Ministry statement. We have more details in this report.
Foreign Minister Badr Abdelati has called on Iran to immediately halt attacks on neighboring Arab countries, warning that the strikes threaten regional stability as cross-border fire intensifies across the Gulf. Abdelati held phone calls with his counterparts in Gulf Cooperation Council states as well as Jordan and Iraq. The calls included officials from Saudi Arabia, United Arab Emirates, Kuwait, Qatar, Oman, Bahrain, Jordan, Iraq, and focus on latest wave of strikes and retaliatory attacks linked to the widening confrontation involving Washington, Tel Aviv and Tehran. Abdelati expressed Egypt's support for the sovereignty and territorial integrity of Arab states affected by the Iranian attacks and said the strikes must stop immediately. He also urged all sides to exercise restraints, warning that further escalation could broaden the conflict across the region. Iran has launched missile and drone attacks against targets in several Gulf countries in retaliation for coordinated U.S. and Israeli war on Iranian territory earlier this week. The exchange of fire has disrupted air travel, affected energy infrastructure and heightened fears of a wider regional war. Abdelati said Egypt was continuing diplomatic contacts aimed at de-escalation and preventing the crisis from spiraling further. Called for a return to political dialogue and adherence to international law and United Nations principles.